I never thought I'd say together. Hey, everybody. It's great to be with you today. Chuck Cook and Zach New are on. We'll have some others join us here in a second. Zach said he doesn't look like a lawyer. I said, you look exactly like a lawyer.
Not my most lawyerly look. I'm on sick baby duty, so.
Yeah, well,
I got a bouncer, I got a playpen, and I got a very angry baby on the other side of this wall. So
it's okay.
Now
that baby's very young, right?
6 months old.
Oh, wow. It's 6 months?
I know. Feels like it just happened, right? But
it does seem like that. Well, my baby was 6 months, and now she's 40. So, Jack, you never know. Is all I'm going to tell you. That's all I know.
Yeah, has pink eye. So I'm. This is my look for today.
Well, Zach, since we have you first, let's jump into the 39 country ban cases, including the Georgia case. Let's start with that because you're kind of leading the way on that, and we filed a couple things. You filed something today. I filed something behind the scenes today. Why don't you give us an update?
There's a ton of things happening behind the scenes. A lot of moving parts going on right now. So with the Georgia case, let's talk about what we filed, I guess, first. So folks have probably been getting, if you haven't been getting the notices from us, please let us know. But have been getting emails throughout the week about just confirming what you want to do in this case. We have kind of 3 things that folks are going to be able to do: either stay in the Georgia case, go their own way, or join a different case in Maryland. I filed the notice of dismissal today for the folks that we had answers for the whether they wanted to go their own way or join the Maryland case. That was sent out to everybody. If you didn't find your name in there and you did want to go to a different lawsuit or join the Maryland case, please let me know so I can file a new one tomorrow, I suppose. So that's what's filed today. In the meantime, we're prepping the complaint for Maryland, and then we'll be prepping the TRO for Maryland as well. It's a lot of moving parts there. For the Maryland case itself, we have a PI that we're prepping, and as soon as we have confirmation of the service having been completed, then that gets filed as well. So a lot of PIs and TROs getting.
Well, and of course you've got the Colorado case.
Right, and then, the Colorado case yesterday at 11:30 at night, the government filed their response. I frankly have not even had time to go into it in detail. I did a quick read through. It's not all that different from what we've seen before. We will be sending that out to plaintiffs as well. But
what can you tell us about the judge in Colorado that you're assigned?
He's a pretty fair judge. People probably don't know the geography of Colorado that well. Denver's on one side of the Rocky Mountains, and then there's like other stuff on the other side of the Rocky Mountains. He's based on that other side of the Rocky Mountains and has to come over to Denver to do his hearings. It's an interesting thing. So
what?
We got scheduled for a hearing that's like 5 hours long, and part of it on the call, he was like, if we get done early, I would really love to get on the road earlier than 5. So,
and you're like, I'm going to do this quickly, Judge. That's,
but really,
he's also the one who wanted something. He wanted action right away. So
he jumped on this. As soon as he got assigned, he had us get on a call like 2 hours later to talk through when the hearing would be and all of that. And the hearing was scheduled less than a month after he got put on the case. So he's really pushing to get this thing moving fast.
So kind of the exact opposite of what we had in Georgia.
And you know what? I'm a big fan of this judge too. He's a pretty recent appointee, 2023. But he was a criminal defense attorney. He did some magistrate work. He was like a kind of like a solo practice small business attorney for a while. I'm a big fan of this guy. So happy with this draw. Not who I thought we were going to get, considering he typically takes cases that are on the other side of Colorado, but it's not a bad thing.
Let me update folks on the other part of the Georgia case today, which was the EADs. For those that are staying into the case, we had 36 folks that had EADs. 22 of them, their EADs had expired. Their old EADs, had expired already. 14 had not yet expired, but were expiring soon. All of them were filed. Before the ban. And they were divided between OPT EADs and adjustment of status EADs. Zach, do you hear that noise?
I can hear you're a little echoey. Maybe I'll mute myself. I wonder if it's my fault.
That was weird. I don't know what that was. That was very strange. It sounded like a helicopter taking off somewhere. Greg wants to know where the link is on email. So I put together a letter to the government's attorney and said, look, the current processing time for OPT EADs is, I think, 3.5 months. And every one of these that are OPT is beyond that. Now, the current processing time for adjustment of status EADs is anywhere from 8 to 10.5 months, depending whether it's a service center or SCOPS on the chart. So some had expired beyond that time, some had not. I said, look, our filings have never asked to jump the line, but it's quite clear that all of the OPT people they've been jumped. So, we read judge's decision inviting us to file a TRO or a PI for our EID folks to avoid 6 weeks of briefings. Would your client just adjudicate them? Because we believe we're going to win. That was sent this morning. Typically, he has been really good about responding within 48 hours. He's got to go to his client. We sent him a chart of all the receipt notices, the numbers. They'll have to look everybody up, and they'll come back with us at some point and give us either yes or no. And they say no, we will quickly put together a PI or even a TRO at this point, probably a TRO, and say, look, Judge, these people have been out of work. It's just not fair. They've clearly been jumped. So we're on that. Now, as far as the Maryland case, I know we promised to file it by Friday, which is, of course, 2 days from now, Zach. And one thing, by the way, we did run into in the 39 country case from Georgia is that some people did not follow instructions, clearly. So some people both wanted to stay in the Georgia suit and wanted to go to Maryland. And some people wanted to go to Maryland and leave the suit. So we had to make a number of phone calls and do a lot of emails to clarify all that, which is why it took us an extra day to get this done. It just took a lot of extra effort, given the number of folks that, and a lot of people just emailed us. Please don't email us directly. Email through the site because we track it through the site. And you email individually takes us away from doing that for everybody else. We do appreciate that. So I think we're in good shape there. I really feel confident about the EAD folks, and we will keep everybody apprised. I am not going to share my email to the government lawyer. We have had bad experiences with that previously. Not to say you would do anything with it, but we have, so we're not going to do that. But we will, of course, give everybody copies of the filings that are made in court and or received from the government in court. Those are put on the website under the case name, under the cases, and you'll be able to download them there. We redact names is why we delay putting them up, because sometimes they include people's names. We're redacting that for privacy purposes. So I was hoping Jesse would be on by now, but let's talk about the DV 2026 lottery case. And that is now fully briefed, Zach. It's fully briefed. And we are in the process of, I'm just kind of waiting for the government to file their part of the brief, which is their summary judgment. We're in good shape there. We feel very confident about that. The government's reply brief, by the way, basically said something that was hilarious. You want to be taken out of line. It's like they didn't read our case. Yeah, okay, fine. Don't take us out of line. Open it up for everybody. That's what you were forced to do last time. And most of our plaintiffs got it, because you got to, if you're the guy that's got all your stuff done, yeah. And I think one benefit of this, Zach, and I do believe we're going to win this. Greg is saying he didn't get the link. Oh, he did not. He was not on that
One
email.
benefit that I'll say one benefit.
I just said so. So I just said
75 country ban issues are being briefed on this simultaneously with the DV stuff. So we'll probably talk about 75 country ban here in a second. But
right, and that's part of the reason is that
right,
countries.
we've got kind of like these concurrent attacks against the 75 country ban. So we've got two cases. There's a multitude of other cases just focusing on the DV aspect of it. There's a multitude of just 75 country ban cases, but by having all of these and the 75 country bans being really, having a strict deadline, I think is really good news for anybody who's subject to the 75 country bans.
Now, tell us about Chukumba.
Yeah, so Chukumba is not a 75 country ban case. Chukumba is the 39 country ban visa issuance case. It's a lot of kind of, behind the scenes, not really sexy, fun stuff to talk about right now. It's really just talking with the government, amending complaints, and then jumping feet first into summary judgment at the end. We were chatting with some other lawyer about joining some other claims with ours, which I think is going to be helpful. So I'm all for that. So I guess if you're looking at Chukumba and you're like, hey, there's not been a lot of movement on the docket, and that's kind of expected at this point. We're not moving for preliminary.
But there is movement, and
there is movement. It's just not the docket doing a whole bunch of like, here's this filing, and then the motion for preliminary injunction, a TRO. The preliminary relief is not what you want. What we're looking for here.
We have to get final relief on this case.
Yeah, it's really kind of like I said, jumping feet first into that final decision, and that just takes time. And it's not a lot of updates along the way that we can give you besides hey, we're doing stuff.
And just by the way, on the DB 2026 case, we have that noise again. You hear that noise?
It's the baby. That's what it is.
Oh, is it the baby monitor? It's the baby monitor. There you go.
It's not the monitor. She's on the other side of the wall here.
The baby's fine. I was hearing like vibrations from a monitor, so that's awesome. So just on DB 2026, I didn't mean the AOS litigation. I'm going to put this one up. We're going to do another onboarding for another group of the DB 2026, and we should have that up relatively shortly to add another group of people to this, because people are realizing that the only way they might get relief is if they file. So we're going to make that available just to let everybody know. Just pay attention to the Impact website over the next few days. Greg, welcome. Now, Jack was concerned that he was not dressed appropriately, but Greg just got to have a bike race.
I lower the bar.
Lowering the bar every day. By the way, congratulations, Greg, on finishing second in your age group in the Memphis mini triathlon? Is that what that was?
It's not a mini tri. It was a real triathlon.
Good for you. A real triathlon, even better, man. You were the man. So the $100,000 fee case, I talked about this on my live earlier.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. So we have one of three cases. This is one of our big pro bonos, and it's in the Northern District of California. It's called Global Nurse Force. We are the case that kind of is highlighting all of the people that are not in tech that are impacted. A lot of doctors, school teachers, nurses, you name it, that are in that case. Our case, we had our arguments in mid-March. Everything seemed to be fine, and we have been waiting on a judge for the better part of 2 months. The other two cases, one is filed by 17 state attorneys general that filed in Boston. They have arguments May 29th. And Jesse, I think, is planning on field tripping over and watching them since he's in the area. And fingers crossed on that one. It's possible that our judge is waiting to see kind of like what happens. Here's Jesse. We were just talking.
Jesse, what happens in
yeah, so it's possible our judge is kind of still waiting to see what's going to happen in that case in the DC circuit case.
Somebody
also on hold. So, not on hold. We're just no decision. So that's what's going on. We can't, as people who like long tuned into us, we can't control the pace of judges. We can do things every once in a while to kind of like remind them that we're here, and that there's that our plaintiffs are here as well. So there are a few things like that we've talked about, but that's what's going on in that case. I think the change that, there are a couple things that are going on that are new, that may have an impact. One is that obviously we had a lottery for the H-1B, and we have a number of people that are subject to this got selected in the lottery. So there's sort of a new group of people that are being impacted right now. We also are, Chuck, how long has it been since we knew that this order runs out on September 21st, and we still don't know what the administration.
Does people in this call believe that they won't renew it?
We don't, it's really kind of strange. It's like, what's the, we just don't know what the administration's thinking. I mean, maybe they realize how disastrous this is economically, and they're just going to let it die on its own, but they don't want to admit defeat.
You think they really care?
That's the optimist in me. I like to think that somebody, prevailing, that sensible minds prevail.
Hold on a second.
But that's where we are on this case. Jesse, I don't know if you sort of have opinions on where we might be on the tax case.
Yeah, I think the judges, obviously it's something that they don't have a lot of to go on other than the Supreme Court case, and it's a very hard case. And anytime you're taking away a presidential proclamation or thinking of doing it, you're going to be in the minority because most courts have upheld it. So I don't know. I mean, everyone thought that the DC case moving quickly was helpful. Here, I think even myself, I'm kind of thinking that the time is not on our side. But as we're going to discuss, I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's there's the 212F issue and whether the president gets dinged on that, but there's also a tariff. Here, $100,000 tariff essentially on H-1B workers. So that has been a case where the Supreme Court, obviously, that decision that went against the president goes against him. So, one big decision, the Trump v. Hawaii case, is obviously pushes in one direction, and then I forget what that case is called for the tariffs going in the other direction. So
learning resources. Yeah. I mean, again, I think the takeaway for anyone listening is that, lawyers making predictions on when judges are going to decide and what judges are going to decide is really not a good use of anybody's time. And I know I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to get like 30 emails about when something's going to happen, but I really just can't state it enough. I mean, I don't know that I've ever been right on a decision date, or maybe an outcome, but you never know.
Maybe we should start Kalshi betting pool on some of these cases.
You see the judges go like 500,000 long on a tariff case. No, I mean, I think look at the decision we won today, which is an amazing pro bono case. I don't know.
I hope we get to talk about that.
Did you talk about it?
No, we haven't. I don't think we've talked about it. I'm so happy that we got some good news.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pro bono case. We've been fighting it for years for these
4 years.
Yeah, parolees. We got refunds, but we didn't get everything we wanted. We had co-counsel at Motley Rice come in, and we just, Greg, you tell them. I mean, the judge today basically said, "Hey, your class was not made whole," and ruled against the government. And then that's that's a Little Tucker case, which not a lot of people know about. To win one of those in a district court is very rare, very rare.
Yeah. And it gives some hope for some future cases potentially, and getting people refunds on things that they paid for, to benefits that they didn't get the benefit that they paid for. So we'll have more to say about that later. Chuck, we were just talking a little bit about our Ukraine case. Got your breath?
Yeah, it was, hey, it was it's a great victory. It just took 4 years. Was it 3 years? It just took forever.
Yeah. Well, we had victories along the way. It wasn't total
but keep in mind, the judge still hasn't ruled. So the judge denied the government's motion to dismiss. A motion of summary judgment has not ruled on ours yet.
Yeah. But I mean, he said basically that we were right about everything that we did. I mean, it was sort of like, why didn't you just finish it up today? But I guess maybe we have to still wait for a couple of things. But I can't see how we're not going to win based on what he said today.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I said I was very happy to see. It's just an example that sometimes litigation takes a long time.
Yeah.
And
that was 150,000 people.
Yeah,
that were involved with that case. So,
well, and the other thing too is, and again, it's like everyone wants everything to be predictable, but like, we started that case on the merits of the statute in Chicago. We settled it. We thought we were in a good place, and I think I was naive to think that they would hand the money back. And then we had to go and file a new case, and we actually went from the District of Columbia to the Federal Court of Claims, back to DC, up to New York, and here we are. So it's we
had a lot of people tell us also that our legal theory was not a good one at the beginning of that case.
Powers that be said that's not a good legal theory. Yes,
that's right. You should not take that case. That's a loser.
Yeah, and that was Greg's idea, by the way. Greg is
absolutely. Yeah, it was great.
So it's really good.
Yeah.
So I had to step out.
The statute.
I'm sorry, like Zach, he's taking care of his baby. My mom moved in last weekend, so somebody unplugged my mom's microwave.
You're a good man, Chuck Cook.
I'll believe my mom. That's I had to go fix it. We took the stove away, but she still has a microwave. Hopefully, nothing blows up. So, we got some comments here. We got or questions. We got some. Let's take a look at some of these here. Fewer than last week. On the Georgia case, any response from the government lawyer on the EADs? I've explained exactly what's going on. We sent the letter today because we had to gather all the receipt numbers and everything. So we'll see how Rodney responds to that. My lawyers filed I reported premium processing. I got a receipt number. How can I add it to my case? You can go to the Impact website, identify yourself, and put that information in an email into the chat.
To give a little bit maybe clearer instructions, because I think sometimes people have a hard time finding this. If you go to whichever case you signed up for, like let's say it's the 39 country case, if you click on that like onboarding page, for example, and you scroll to the bottom, it's a place. There's like a little hyperlink that says like, please click here if you've got updates to your case. That's what we mean by update to the website.
This is a good way. Why is the judge still considering the motion to dismiss? Well, because they filed it. I mean,
totally different tracks. Like the PI are totally different things.
Yeah.
So the PI, it's not the end of the case. It's like this preliminary. What do I think should happen at the outset of the case? Like the motion to dismiss is the first real merits decision that needs to be made here. So I know nobody's happy with the preliminary injunction, but that's not like him saying, all right, you lose, and everything else goes away. Like the fact that it's in the state that it is still means that everything moves forward.
He clearly had. I mean, the thing is, he says normally motions to dismiss are granted for lack of jurisdiction. I don't have authority to do this. He's already said he has jurisdiction. So, we'll see what happens there. Obviously, we can't predict Judge Grimberg.
No, the other thing too is, we filed, people wanted to depart the case, and that's their right. And I think, if the judge were leaning towards a negative ruling, he may ask for a supplemental briefing, because obviously the calculus changes with the different, makeup.
Right. And you already identified that he seems to be happy to grant a 765 PI or
Yeah, and I think Rodney, to his credit, he's already agreed to do one who had an approval, and he took our, I thought you wrote a great email today to him, and again, I think I'll just make this comment because I think we all have dealt with an email from every single person. The reality is this from the judges and the cases that I am personally a part of or reading. There's one thing to lift the pause. There's another thing to put you back in line where you are. If you filed a 485 in October, November, December, January, I think demanding a decision on your 485 is a bit out of line. That's my personal opinion, because I think judges are going to say, well, if we took away this pause, would you have been adjudicated? Maybe, but maybe probably not on an EB2. Not
according to the data on the website.
I think we have to do a better job, not us, but as a whole, at understanding that this is not, and again, judges are very cautious about this. This is not a mechanism to jump the line. On your EAD, for sure, you probably should have received that interim benefit or your OPT or whatever, or a change of status, because the processing times are different. But on a 485, I think everyone's like, oh, it's only 11 months, it's 12. I mean, whatever it is, we're not there yet unless you filed in 24, 23. And I think we have to be careful of asking too much. We need you to not be judged and stopped based on your nationality. That's what we need first. That's the first order of business.
Well, that goes to this guy's question here. We don't care about work permits.
Yeah.
45. Well, so that's,
I think what he does care about, though, is that green card. He wants the green card. And I think the reaction to him would be, well, tell me when you filed, because we're going to put you in the place where you should be, not where you want to be.
Right. So how many people do we have for the Maryland lawsuit? That was a question right here.
Couldn't tell you. I would say it's somewhere in the realm of like 150 to 200-ish, somewhere in the ballpark.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. You'll know better tomorrow.
Yeah.
On 2 hours sleep. Hey, Zach, could you schedule a meeting for the Colorado plaintiffs? I believe some of the government's response and your strategy on addressing Greenberg's challenges in the Georgia case and government response.
Not in the short term. Look, I think there's times for the plaintiff calls. I think there's times for us to have this chat about what's going on, what we're going to be doing, and all this stuff. I don't think that it is productive or helpful for us to have a call for me to just like go line by line. Here is the response that the government filed. Here's what I'm going to be doing about it. Like, that's just time that I could be spent responding to this thing. I'm happy to kind of like answer emails. Here's kind of what's going on. Here's the arguments that were made. I'm happy to do that. But scheduling a call to go over all these things is not productive. It's not going to be helpful.
Well, it's a legal argument. So how do we know if you're in the Georgia? This is my favorite question today. How do you know what case you're in? You're in the case you chose to be in.
Well, yeah, I mean, so it's a two-stepper. We have to withdraw you from Georgia and then enter you into Maryland. So you'll know, I guess, which case you're in, if you're listed in the case where for the dismissal, you're not in Georgia anymore.
Today, and I will post it. We don't really want to post it because there's names in it, but I guess you could post it.
It was emailed to plaintiffs, so I don't.
Email already knows. Check your email, right?
Yeah.
Any update about the exception for medical physicians? We do have some information about that. Greg?
Well, I mean, we have information and then we have like missing information. So the government, when they made that announcement, that sort of in the middle of the night announcement where they kind of doctored an old memo that only said that medical physicians, which I'm not sure is sort of like a term of art, but that's the one they use. Which it's important because it doesn't tell us whether it's like researchers or only people that are doing clinical work, or there's like lots of different kinds of
practicing doctors. What is it? Whatever that means.
But, so all they said was that they were going to be accepted from the policy. We know that from various U.S. attorneys and and thanks to some of the lawyers in other cases. We've been getting some information about what's happening based on what we're seeing in other litigation. What I can tell you, we talked about this at our law firm's attorney lunch today, and we don't have anything official yet from USCIS. And according to some of the lawyers that are filing these cases through the physician listservs, we're learning that premium processing folks and others are telling them that they don't have instructions yet on what to do on those cases. We know from Curtis Morrison's case that the U.S. attorney on the other side said something was forthcoming as far as some kind of detailed policy memo. I'm not super happy about that because it seems to me that if this is that if it's not simply doctors are exempt from this, it's probably going to be some kind of more convoluted. Some doctors are, depending on type of case that you have, and it's going to be somewhat complicated and convoluted. So that we know. We had some news from Jesse regarding doctors. Jesse had a small case with some doctors in it, and you had some news.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't file a PI, and you know me. I'm always trying to be diplomatic, and I thought the U.S. Attorney's Office and I could have a conversation in that case, and that's where I kind of learned about this medical exception. And they were residents, and I think USCIS is looking at that. We also pointed them to the exception that was already in the policy.
They were 765s.
Yep.
Okay.
So they needed those resident, they needed the 765s to join their programs on or before like June 1st. And so, I think I filed that case back in late March, and, I just series of phone calls, series of emails, like, hey, I'm in a position where I'm going to have to file a PI or a TRO. And then they said, well, we think this is an exception for medical professionals, and we're going to apply it. And, I will say, to their credit, they held up their end of the bargain, and all of the EADs were approved. And those people, I think they told everybody, including my mother, in Myrtle Beach. And but I'll tell you, like, it's not like, oh, go do my case now, because I have a case in DC. It's indistinguishable, and she has a June 1 cutoff. And I filed my response to a PI today because they wouldn't. And I told them, I'm like, I just did the same thing for this person. She just happens to be going to ODU, and they went to someone. I'm like, what is going on? And so it's definitely not consistent. Nothing's written down. It's frustrating.
Which shows, once again, you can't trust the government to do anything right.
Well, I mean, it's just, and I was kind of talking to the U.S. Attorney about that. I'm like, listen, man. I said, what am I supposed to tell my client who, knows that I just achieved something over here that's part of a policy that you changed, whether you like it or not. We discovered you did change a word, and it seems to, and I congratulate USCIS for doing it. They're trying to do the right thing. They recognize that a lot of these people won't be able to join their programs, and got the stiff arm and just said, "We'll let the judge decide." So.
Yeah, I will say that if you are remaining in the Georgia case, we will be communicating with the U.S. Attorney in that case, then the names of the physicians.
If you are a physician, I don't know if any of them were physicians.
Right. If they're not. But for the Maryland cases and our other cases, we're basically compiling not just a list of the doctors, but hopefully a little more information on what kind of cases they have, and we are going to be reaching out to every U.S. attorney in each of our cases where it's relevant. So the Maryland case that's just being filed tomorrow, obviously we can't do that until we have a U.S. attorney on the other side that we can talk
to. Friday, not tomorrow. Friday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wednesday. This week.
What?
All right. So can you get the last government response from the DV case? Now, Jess, we talked about the DV case and the government's most recent their response, saying, "Hey, you can't take these people out of line."
Yeah, but they did file their last response on Friday, and in the deluge. I don't know that we've sent it to the plaintiffs yet, but I will get on it.
We need to post it on the Impact.
Yeah, we'll do that. I can summarize it. It's you lose, and we win. I mean, that's the summary. DV is entitled to nothing, and and we
don't have to do these. That isn't that thing. We don't have to do these, even though case in the district says they do. It's just
well, I mean, I think it's. I did see a response in another case that did not even have a cover sheet. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in a DV case when they were filing. Yeah, so I think I don't know. I got to check ours, but I mean, the reality is this. I hope that the judge doesn't allow the Secretary of State to shut down a visa category on his own, because there's not a 212F proclamation behind this. This is just kind of, we're not doing it, go away. That would set a very dangerous precedent. There's nothing unique about DV except there's a very strict deadline. If anything, it should be handled way more timely than others, perhaps. But
remember, they did argue back in 2020 that they don't have to issue all the visas.
Yeah,
they don't have to issue all the visas. There's no requirement of that.
No.
But not issuing any of the visas is also not proper.
Yeah, and the president had suspended entry, and there was a global pandemic. Now it's this guy from Portugal did a very bad thing in Rhode Island. He came in on a DV visa 2017. We hate them. Like, come on. Like, if that's where we're at with things today, I mean, I do have faith in Judge Leon no matter what. Like, I don't think that he's going to say, oh, this is totally well thought out and planned and it makes sense to me. And, I think we have to.
Judge Leon. That doesn't strike me as Judge Leon's approach to things. We're in a position now. It's almost like the pause policy too. They are, and like habeas. If the judge wants to do it, let him do it. We're not doing anything. But if the judge wants to do it, maybe we'll comply. Okay. So just Zach, hang in there with the baby monitor. There you go.
I was just gonna say that I'm being beckoned, so I'm gonna have to jump.
You can go anytime you want. My cousin is the plaintiff in the DV case. We are from Turkey. We need to complete health checks, expiration because of our paused medical reports. Okay. I mean, do you think embassies will require repetition of this, or they excuse them or reject them? I can't recall what they did last time, Jess. Did they make people get new medicals that had medicals? I just can't recall.
I think there are some countries where the medicals expire very quickly.
Yeah.
And there was that chaos, but they were doing so many.
They did accommodate.
They did. I think the problem we're going to run into, perhaps, if we were successful, is what embassies or consulates are open. They just closed a couple, due to Ebola, and the staffing is way down. That's the logistics behind this. If I were the State Department, the logistics are so bad that maybe a settlement would have made more sense. But we'll see what the judge has to say.
Just want to drag it out and just say time ran out. So yes, it's the DV interest link. That's the one. Just keep signing up on that. And I do love this comment. Is that Greg Armstrong?
Greg LeMond.
Greg LeMond, I think. Not steroid use there.
He's the clean version, though.
Did the clock for the governor response start for the 39 banned country case? Yes, it did.
Yeah, they already responded.
Yeah, they already responded, and we replied. So my lawyer, she's asked that question 4 times. Do you have any estimate on the PI filing date for the Maryland case? I think we said last time it would be the following week. So
yeah, I think everybody, we're underwater. I mean, we have to choose between like the emails and and everything else. But it's on. I mean, we're doing it. We're working. We're not stopping.
It's a question for Greg. What do you think of the J visa delays and the mass rejection of J's for doctors in India, which is approaching?
Yeah. So we actually, that was another subject we talked about at our health with the healthcare lawyers at our lunch today, where we are seeing J's rejected for things that we never were really seeing as big issues, like 214B. I mean, a doctor is coming in for 3 to 7 years of training, and they're still, and they've never given issues before with doctors as far as questions about whether they have immigrant intent or not. In fact, it's really stupid to deny, because we have all these government incentives that we give doctors once they're here to stay in the United States and stay for 3 more years. And then we have a green card category if they stay for 2 more years beyond that. So why would you reject a doctor
in underserved areas?
If you put them, if the official government policy is that we encourage them to immigrate to the United States and go to these areas. But it is we've heard about that. I know my law partner, Elisa Taub, she's on the State Department liaison committee for AILA, and I know that's an issue. That's how she knows kind of a lot of what's going on, is because she's hearing from other lawyers that are complaining about it. So yes, we've heard about that. As far as J waiver, delays. I am interested in sort of delays on the part of the State Department in issuing the waivers, but the issue is, they're all the waivers themselves. So waivers are two parts. State Department makes a recommendation, and then USCIS makes the final decision on it. And the USCIS part is what we're litigating as far as the benefits pause, and that is so that's causing the delays. Before you're not going to get an adjudication on an H-1B if you are still stuck waiting on the even the rubber stamped adjudication of the J waiver by USCIS, and it is a rubber stamp, meaning that it's 100% approval at USCIS once the State Department has made its decision. And State Department, there's no pause on waiver adjudications by the State Department, but USCIS is not finishing up their part of the process, which should just basically be, the State Department approve you, done, you get your waiver, and that should be it. And you should then get approved for your J1, your H-1B, whatever you're applying for. Well, I guess the J waiver wouldn't normally lead to another J. But the point on it is that yes, we're aware of these issues. There is a lot of political pressure that's being applied, and that is probably by red state politicians who are very upset about doctors not coming to the rural hospitals and residency programs in key hospitals in their districts that are not, that they're concerned are not going to show up there. So from the lobbying perspective, there's a lot of good things happening in addition to the litigation. So
yeah, but this is not something you can't litigate visa denials in India. I mean, that's not a litigation.
Yeah, you can. All you can do is basically get the hospitals and the healthcare community
and their senators on the horn.
Yeah, they just need to. That's a political problem, and then that has to be largely how it's going to be dealt with. Is powerful people making noise.
Okay. As Zach mentioned, they got at 11:30 last night. The government filed their response. He's not even looked at it yet. We had other things to do today. He'll take a look at that tomorrow and go over it and send it out.
Yeah, I mean, here's the summary. You lose, and
you
lose, and we don't have to do anything. And 242, it's the same real arguments. Don't follow the other cases, including the cases by your colleagues in the same court. There's nothing that we need to do, and everybody's just trying to cut the line. That's
not a lot of originality these days coming from the respondents.
Here's my new favorite question. Can we please fight for a deadline for a case to be adjudicated for the PI by the case filed in Maryland? No.
Yeah, I mean, I really do think I think people associate PIs with I'm going to get the benefit adjudicated by a deadline. I think you have to look at, when you're looking for an injunction, you're looking for something in between the start of the case and the end. And what you really want is the end. And I think what the judge can do is say, you cannot apply the pause policy in the middle of this case. Make it go away. I think judges also sometimes will say, and to alleviate this harm, you need to get people back in status or back to work. I think it's a lot different unless you have been waiting way out on the spectrum to say, and adjudicate the 485 as well. Because if you do that, there's no preliminary injunction. It's just a permanent injunction. The case is over. So again, I think it sounds real great. If I get a PI, I get my green card, but I don't know that that's realistic. I just don't think, I think there's a big misconception out there.
I think what he's looking for, can you force the judge to make a decision quickly? And the answer is no. We can't force a timeline on a judge. That's not how our system works, unless you're Donald Trump. In the DV case, this is a good question. What do we expect happens if we win? What extent could the judge orders for relief compel consular process? It's a good question.
That's really.
From my perspective, Jesse, two things could happen. One, he could say, I'm ordering relief for plaintiffs. You shall interview them. And if provable, you shall approve them. Or he could say, open the system. I'm not putting anybody else in front of anybody. I'm requiring you, as judge did in 2020, open it up. Open it up and issue as many visas as you can by September 30th. That was his order.
I think what I could do, I mean, if I were Judge Leon, I would say, listen, I want a report from you about how many cases you've done. I want to know where plaintiffs sit in the queue. I want to know, for those that have been interviewed, why they haven't been approved if I grant this. And, you know, and I want status reports every 10 days, unless you tell me what your plan is. But that's my plan. My fear is that they try to run out the clock and appeal, and we're going to be in that race.
Well, and that they'd have to get a stay in place. Could they get a stay from the DC Circuit on that case?
Wrong panel, they could. You know, if it's a CATSIS, not CATSIS isn't terrible. I mean, honestly, I used to work for that guy. I mean, it's not awful. It's just, I don't know how much they want to do that, but they do have the good luck decision in their back pocket, knowing that's a hard deadline. There's nothing that can be done.
So we got. I don't know. We'll see. We're doing our best. How does the Georgia case impact the Colorado case? It doesn't impact it. I mean, I'm sure the government lawyers argued it. I would have if I was the government lawyer. But
here's the thing: you got to be careful what you argue, though, because if you get a judge to adopt a Georgia ruling and say, yeah, you get 60 days, like, I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean,
the Georgia ruling is not. It's just weird. It's a weird ruling.
Well, I think he bought into the government's approach, and give credit to Rodney down there. Like, he bought into the approach that this was not final, and they kind of gave them the leash and said, hey, you're just changing the tires on the car here, doing the security checks, doing it differently. All right, I'll go with you. You can't stop it forever, though. And I want an update in 60 days. And for anyone who's out of work, I want a list, and I want you to, And so I disappointing for sure, obviously. But I don't know that it's the North Star that I'd want to hang my hat on if I were the government.
No, I don't think so either. Amir Pat's always on my lives. He thinks that the Trump wants it for everybody, even in the United States. And of course, he's never going to be able to get it inside the United States because there's statutes on fees inside the United States. So
yeah, make it permanent, and all those people who come on H's and start businesses and will be great. Again,
Mooney Vibe wants to know how long we're going to take to file a Maryland case, and she must not have been on our lives previously when we said how long it takes for Judge Grant. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't. I think I'm going to declare a permanent injunction on myself, making predictions of when.
I'm not going to predict it. I mean,
I honestly, I say I'm so bad to myself. I violate my own rules. I get sucked in.
I do like what happens to premium processing cases that were paused for months. Well, presumably if they were ordered to, they would resume premium processing. But keep in mind, it's not just the banned cases. Even in non-banned country cases or delay country cases, they're not following the 15 days. They're just not.
Yeah.
They just don't care.
I think too, what we're going to have is, I mean, I've seen them return fees. I don't know if that's happened to you guys, but like they've definitely returned them. It's just that I think it's kind of like, this is not just about pause cases anymore. They're not doing premium. Like, I don't know.
So if the F1 visa notification survives motion dismissed, the next step is it for summary judgment?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, we have to see what's in the order. I mean,
right.
It's almost like, oh, if we survive a motion to dismiss, does that mean we win? No, it means we're alive.
But I think we might move for summary judgment at that point, as opposed to the TRO. We cannot meet the standard for a TRO. We can't, and I'm not sure we can meet the standard for a PI.
No.
So it really is likely going to be a summary judgment on that.
Yeah.
Again, you can only pick the tools that are available to you that you can actually use. I mean, you might have a whole array of tools in front of you, but you just need this one screwdriver. That's the only one that fits the hole, and that's the way it works in the law. Let's see. Do you have a timeline on the Raji case? And now that's the Maryland.
I think is that the Rasti case or the Raji case?
I thought it was a Razi. Ranji.
Rosti is the case in Massachusetts on the Iranian students who are banned under 212F and under.
I think this one is the first Maryland case. I think.
Oh, I got you.
I just refer to them as the state case. I don't refer to them by the name, but I think that's it. I know Zach's work. Zach had to leave because he's taking care of that baby, but we'll get information out to everybody. Plaintiff STEM OPT is set to expire December 26th. House request the court to expedite on that basis. No.
No.
We're 7 months from December 2026.
Yeah.
But I really do believe we'll have a decision by then. I mean, that's even a most recent judgment we probably get that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rough timeline on the final stages of the DV case. I know, Jess, why don't you just, I know we have
we're done. No, we're ready to go. I mean, the Judge Leon has everything he needs to make a decision. I would expect him to set it for a hearing, and we're going to have to go argue it.
We will hear shortly on a hearing, and I know I will be there.
I mean, I don't know if we have a timeline because it's up to the judge, and I know they understand what's going on, and I expect it to be set quickly, but we don't have the date. No.
He hasn't given us a date for a hearing on this. Is it possible to request a deadline for specific benefits only? OPT output? No.
What would you set?
I don't know. I don't even understand the question. If Judge Leon orders not in our favor, what is your action plan? Good question.
I don't know that we have one, to be honest. I mean, I think if we lose, we have a really big issue. I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, to be honest, I don't think there's a whole lot we can do. It depends how we lose, what he writes in the decision. I don't think you're going to get an appeal filed and approved, and that's going to be
and briefed and adjudicated
by September 30th. We probably have to pack our bags and go home, or we got to pray to St. Michael or whoever that they walk back that policy and issue some visas.
Okay. Let's see. Keep asking when you're going to file the Maryland case. Were you not here when we started talking? Everybody knows that we're told last week we're filing it on Friday. Nada says, do not file the case before checking with the plaintiffs. What plaintiff?
What case?
What?
Do not. Yeah.
Do you think a new F1 rule may also affect CPT? Oh, this is now, Jess, you're probably not aware of the new rule. It's going to publication, I think, probably as early as Friday. Certainly within the next couple of days.
Rule.
This is the F1 DS rule. It is so basically the way the rule works is if you have your CPT now, you get to stay until the end of your CPT or STEM OPT program to a maximum of 4 more years, and you have the 60-day grace period. But if during that time you leave the United States and come back in, you're now subject to the new rule, get 2 years and have a 30-day grace period. And you can request extensions, but you have to file not just a 765, but a 539. So it's incredibly complicated. I talked about it. If you want to go back and look at my live from today, I went over it in detail and take a look at that. So,
do we think there's going to be litigation?
I don't see how you win litigation on this. Honestly, I don't see how you win litigation on it.
They didn't follow the rules as far as issuing the reg.
Well, if they're following the rules and they took comments and they issued the reg, I just don't see how you win on an APA action on that. When you're the president, you do get to make the rules. I mean, think about the DACA stuff, right? They kept winning DACA because they were following the rules ultimately. Greg, when's your recommendation for reduction start residency fellowship July, August 1 that are in the Maryland case?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends on what Jesse was talking about before. It depends on their situation as far as, if you're abroad and you're seeking a visa and you're subject to, something that is preventing you from preventing the visa from being issued. That's that depends on litigation. He was talking about the Maryland case. Yeah, I mean, I guess what as soon as we know who who we're talking to on the other side, we're going to provide that information and
Right.
make sure that they know
Well,
they're aware of a hard deadline
Yeah.
for that. I apologize for not.
Yeah, we'll go through the list
At the end.
all the
There is still time. We'll know, Chuck. We'll know probably later in the week who our U.S. attorney is next week, right?
next week. We'll know. Well, I don't. That's not necessarily true. But we can
But
certainly.
it's not, that's one of the first things we learn.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely reach out because we're going to have a PI and they'll be assigned to somebody. So within a week or two, we'll know that. We'll reach out on the medical issues. We'll go through all the intakes, make sure we have identified all the positions that need EADs for the residency programs. By the way, Bill Simon says if medicals are good for 6 months, we can do one. So.
And if you're a doctor in one of our cases, you want to just email me separately.
Yeah, email Greg. He'll try.
For me, that's fine.
Oh, do you think the government will comply if the judge strikes down the fee? That's how the law works.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll appeal though.
They'll appeal. Yeah, they'll appeal. But I don't think they'll get a stay on that. Let's see. The GNF H-1B lawsuits. So we're in for a 3-month anniversary. So, that's the global nurse force. Okay. Our friends, the government, are shooting themselves in the last response to the Ivanov case. I agree. They asked for anything just for plaintiffs, and later they said we cannot pass the queue just for plaintiffs. Yes, I agree. It is a rather strange response in Ivanov.
Yeah, there is no queue though. Like it just seems weird.
Yeah, well, right now there is no queue. I mean, that's
right. It's like we're not trying to jump. I mean, what the judge should do is say, "Fine, adjudicate all of them." Then.
Yeah, do it. How do we know the judge will ever adjudicate 45s? Well, again, the PI is not the end of the case.
I think
we get judgment. If there is a judgment that mandates adjudication, then you will be adjudicated in the time frame you normally would have. That's the end goal. That's the end goal of litigation.
Yeah, I mean, if it turns out that we're successful and time passes beyond what normal processing times are, we have there are things that we can do as far as with the government and with the judges once you are at that point. But you're not until you can show that it's taken longer than people that were being adjudicated all this time. You're not going to get anything.
Are you optimistic about the Dorcas case, which is a hearing tomorrow? I'm sorry, I don't know what the Dorcas case is.
I think that's a big case in Rhode Island on the pauses and stays and.
Oh, that's the one up in Rhode Island.
Yeah, it's a big case. I mean, I think we are optimistic.
I call it the Rhode Island case. I don't call it the Dorcas case. I'm really
well, usually you call it by the lawyer that's that's
the lawyer. Oh, that's whose ever case. Okay. Here's a good question: if you lose your second chance in Maryland, can you still file an individual mandamus? We're not filing a mandamus. That's a different cause of action than what we're filing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could file your own mandamus.
I think you got to be careful filing 45 claims for delay, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
theoretically,
at 4 years you can file it. I mean, you're not going to file before 4 years.
Don't do it pro se.
Don't do it pro se. Yeah. Who's going to attend a hearing for our second case in Maryland? Well, I'm going because I'm admitted in Maryland. And Jesse probably will come down because he loves crab.
I do.
And I mean, I do too. And
how could you pass up? Who passes up an opportunity to go to Baltimore?
I don't know if Zach will. Zach's got a baby. I mean, it's tough for Zach to travel. So, is the Colorado judge the type that would come into? Oh, I think this. Zach talked about that earlier. Remember, this is the judge within 2 hours of being assigned to the case. Had called both lawyers and had them on the phone. I would suspect that's the kind of judge that makes a decision quickly. So
I don't know.
No, you never know, of course. USCIS has claimed in a recent case that dual citizens are not just the pause.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what they claimed.
I think we gotta have that argument for any Canadian, Iranian dual nationals or anybody else. I mean, I think that's an argument to we were raised with everybody. I mean, that's huge. I don't know that's accurate. I mean, it's great. Let's do it. But I don't know whether
Okay.
I don't know where that was written.
Ram Sam only cares about his EAD, and I don't know if he's in the new Maryland case or the first Maryland case. Obviously, for those to see in Georgia, we're already dealing with the EAD case.
I think the reality too, like what people are starting to maybe appreciate, is your facts are very important for you, but when you join a group case, they do have to be somewhat watered down because you have elected to kind of tie your boats together and sail the same way. And you know, I understand, and I don't want you not to have work authorization, but we have to give you the same attention that we give to the other people in the case, and that sometimes can be a bit of a blur. And you know, I understand what you care about. We have to do what's best for the group, and that's very hard. Yeah,
but we'll of course talk about EAD separately. Somebody has been in the South too long.
100%.
You reckon the government would stay for the appeal? Dorcas, because we win. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
They're not going to get a stay in the first.
Not in the First Circuit. Not where they are. If the government is forced to issue ban country, but those who can't use the visa enter because of the ban, what happens to the visa number? Is it lost and not either? So keep in mind, state can revalidate visas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, while you have 6 months to enter the United States, they can revalidate visas. So I do not believe it's lost.
But yeah, I mean, those are only for the travel ban.
39 country cases, right? So,
and again, that's the 212F / travel ban countries. That the visa should be issued for 6 months, and we, you know, at that point you got to really kind of hold on,
and you can get it revalidated. I have gotten those revalidated.
Yeah.
So you're not going to lose. You're not going to lose the visa. Okay, you're not losing the visa. Last couple questions. If I filed in January 545, win the PI, what would be the normal processing time? Okay. All you need to do is go to uscis.gov.
Yeah.
Down to case processing times, put in 485, put in the category that you are in, if it's employment based, and push the button.
I can tell you the last two digits are going to have probably a 2027 in it. It's not going to be 2026.
No, right now I'm telling people 18 months. Now you will read on the internet, oh, mine got approved in 3 months.
My neighbor did it.
Yeah, that may be true, but the immigration is like driving home from work. Some nights you hit every green light.
Yeah.
Next night, every red light. Why? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
So 18 months or longer is what it's going to be. Well, we've now answered every question. Thank you guys for being with us. We will be live again next Wednesday at 6 o'clock here on Impact. And we appreciate your trust in us. We love working with you. And it is our goal to win all of your cases and kick the government's butt. Mm-hmm. Until next week, we'll see you guys. Jess and Greg, don't hang up right away. And we'll be out. Okay, I want to take out.